Okay, everyone knows the new show, Matlock, with Kathy Bates. It's one of my new favorites. And I love that, it is about the legal industry and that she is coming back being a practicing attorney after several years of not practicing. So this is a trial scene where I think we're going to talk about, is this something that would happen in a real courtroom?
I'm glad you explained it because I've not seen the show. I saw the original Matlock, of course, and love Kathy Bates,
Yes.
so I'm very excited.
I figured this would be a fun one for us to do. While we pull this up, basically the episode is a employer sexual assault trial that is ongoing where the woman got fired for allegedly poor work behavior, but it was really because she was having an affair with the boss and he got mad at her or something and something along those lines. Yes.
Oops, I need my glasses. There we go. Sorry. Thanks for your patience. Okay. As Senior Vice President, are you in charge of hiring?
Yes.
And why did you hire Alex?
Well, she had a strong resume. Good recommendation, good interview.
Got it.
Question.
Yes.
Can and should the person being interviewed give a long-winded answer, or are they typically just yes or no?
So generally, your lawyer will tell you to just answer the question. If it's a yes or no, give a yes or no. That probably wasn't a yes or no question, so you do have to be responsive, but don't give more than you need to properly answer the question.
Gotcha.
So you thought she was a good candidate. And a good person, is that a qualification?
I'd say so, yes.
And do you mind telling us what your definition of a good person is, just so we're all on the same page?
Someone who works hard, is nice and honest, and wants to do well.
Agreed. And would you say a good person is self-sacrificing at work?
Sure.
Somebody who goes the extra mile?
Yes.
And what about someone?
Are these questions relevant? Could this other attorney on the other side object to ask relevance of what's a good person, what's not a good person?
What she's doing here is laying foundation.
Okay.
So what you want to do as just a normal person is just be like, why did you do this? This was bad. But as an attorney, you can't just do that. So she started with, you make the hiring decisions. How are you making these decisions? He says, I look for a good person. So she can then ask, what is a good person? What do you think is a good person? So I would say they are relevant because she's laid the proper foundation. If she just came in and said, what do you think's a good person? Then maybe objection. Not. Where'd that come from? So yeah, she's doing a great job here of laying it out so we can build the house on her
Building
foundation.
it up so she can lower the boom.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what about someone who steals from the firm? Oh, wait, that's obviously not. I meant to cross that off my notepad.
So
Interesting.
this is a bold move. Judges tend to hate when you do a pre-planned kind of gimmick like this. Clearly she's doing this on purpose. I think it would be allowed, but judges really, really hate that. So bold move. You can try it, but
So you can't pretend like she did, I accidentally asked you a question I shouldn't have.
you can. Judges don't like it, and juries might think it's disingenuous as well. Maybe it works in her favor that she's a sweet older woman, and maybe they believe that that's really what happened, but obviously it's not. So things like that, you have to be careful how it will be perceived. People don't always think the best of lawyers' intentions. They assume we're always up to something. So
You're not? Just kidding.
No. So you have to be careful how those things are going to land with a judge and a jury. Is this going to alienate them, or is this going to bring them on board? But let's see how it works out for Miss Matlock here.
All right.
Okay, but I guess I could ask, what about a criminal? Good person?
I assume no.
I assume the same. Would you label yourself a good person?
Yes.
Got it. I just tiny bit confused, so bear with me. You said criminals are not good people, and then you said you define yourself as a good person.
Objection, relevance.
Permission to approach the bench, Your Honor, regarding sensitive impeachment evidence.
This is ridiculous. He already weighed in on my client's past criminal history. It's inadmissible.
Oh, I think lying under oath is a whole lot worse. That's how you got your sexy video in. Rule 609. Right, Your Honor?
Rules are rules. Your client impeached himself. I'll allow it.
I want to know what the sexy video is. I haven't seen the episode, but generally, Rule 609 balances a jury's need to know information with a criminal history of that person. So just because you have a criminal history, do we need to know about it to know if what you're telling us is the truth? Generally, no. And a lot of people will judge ahead of time. They'll say, oh, this person has done bad things. A jury has found them to have committed wrongdoing. Maybe they're not trustworthy. But that doesn't always need to be known. Do I need to know your criminal history if you're the witness of a hit and run? No.
Right.
But sometimes it does come in. And again, she did a great job of laying this foundation of bringing him into a trap of saying, criminals are bad people. I'm looking for good people. And she knows that he was a criminal. I'm assuming they had motions in limine ahead of time to discuss what comes in, what doesn't. There's generally few surprises in trial, except moments like this, because we do everything ahead of time.
Right.
So honestly, the other side should have seen it coming when she said, is a criminal a good person?
Yes.
Probably should have objected there and said,
Yeah.
I know where this is going, cut it out. But they didn't. So
Right.
Congrats, Mrs. Matlock.
So even to establish like a credibility or like someone's personality, like you can't use prior convictions to showcase someone's personality or habits or anything, maybe like in between.
Right. So I see what you're saying, and sometimes yes, but generally the jury is a fact finder. We want them to focus on the facts. But if you're telling me facts, but also you're telling me that this person has done salacious things, I'm going to be thinking about that.
Sure.
But I don't need to be. I just need to know what these facts are and just weigh that evidence. So clearly there could be times where it would matter.
Yeah.
But
Not here.
not here, but she got it out of him. So
Okay.
Mr. Brooks, have you ever been convicted of sexual assault?
Answer the question, Mr. Brooks.
Yes, but it was expunged.
Which is relevant
Good
because
thing
she
I
was being
didn't cross
accused of
that
sexual
question
assault.
off my list.
So that's extra messy since he was convicted, but then it was expunged. As soon as she asked, have you been convicted, there should have been another objection. Like, he doesn't have a record at this point. Whatever he did, I guess sexual assault, somehow got that expunged, which doesn't happen in most states,
Yeah.
but that's for another day. That adds another layer to the little onion there of how this got in. How did she find out about it? Generally, if your records are expunged, nobody can find it. Other than law enforcement, they can always see
Or
every...
Matlock.
If Matlock is on the other side,
Yes.
even your expunged records will be fair game, apparently.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you want to know what happens, watch the episode.
now I'm going to have to see
Yeah.
what the sexy video was
Yeah, there you
and
go.
see how this turns out. I assume Ms. Matlock is victorious.
I mean, most likely it is Matlock, so.
Right.